Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Good to be back. So want to go ahead and react to a game that we talked about a lot on the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel over the last couple days, not to mention the college football betting show. It was the only ranked matchup in college football this weekend, Missouri traveling to Texas A&M. And if you listen to our preview content, it was a game that I felt like there was one team that we absolutely knew a lot about, one team that we were still trying to figure out, right? The team that we thought we knew a lot about, it was the Texas A&M Aggies. They're 4-1, but listen, they had a backup quarterback, Marcel Reed, kind of a team that's going to have to win ugly, control the line of scrimmage, be physical, run the football. But that was kind of who A&M was, or at least we thought so coming into the weekend. Missouri was the one, though, that we were trying to figure out, like, who the heck are they? How good are they? They're 4-0, but listen, needed overtime to beat Vandy. Obviously struggled for a stretch against Boston College. Well, I bring it up because Saturday did give us clarity on one team, although I'm not totally positive it's the team that we thought it was. Missouri, they might not be that good, but part of the reason that they might not have looked very good on Saturday is because Texas A&M, with their starting quarterback Connor Wigman back, felt like a completely different team, and this was a statement result Saturday afternoon in Aggieland. Texas A&M beating Missouri 41-10. Final score, butt whooping. By the way, Eli Drinkwitz kicking the field goal with 8 seconds left to push the over. That's another conversation for another day. But I do want to hop into this. And what I really want to talk about is I want to get into a deep conversation about A&M because I'm going to say something. It sounds controversial, but it isn't. With a healthy Connor Wigman and the schedule that A&M has, I'm here to tell you, I think there is a possibility, very much so, that Texas A&M is in the conversation for the college football playoff as we head deeper into the season. And I'm talking late October, early November. Before we continue, by the way, make sure that you are following our Torres on Texas A&M account for all of your A&M coverage. Appreciate everybody's support there. Let's go ahead and dive in this game. Like I said, 41-10 was the final score. I don't even know if it was that close. I mean, it was a beatdown of epic proportions. Now, I know that Missouri fans, there was a couple calls that went against you early, first series, probably a pass interference. In the end, it didn't matter, okay? The bottom line was A&M was more focused, more ready, more physical, more tough, more mean, whatever whatever words you want to use to describe it. It was just a butt kicking from the beginning. Texas A&M jumps out to a 24-0 lead at the half. 302 yards to 79 in the first half. And sadly for Missouri, it didn't really get much better from there. Texas A&M finishes with over 500 yards of total offense. They hold Missouri to right around 250. By the way, a lot of those yards came late when the game was already decided in terms of Missouri's yardage. So this was a butt kicking. And I thought what it showed is a couple things. One, first of all, credit to Texas A&M and Mike Elko, because listen, Mike Elko in one offseason has completely changed not only the trajectory of this program, but I would argue the ethos, who they are, what they're about. Texas A&M, we all saw them under the previous regime. This doesn't need to be a 20-minute conversation or even a 2-minute conversation about Jimbo Fisher. But listen, they were soft. They were inconsistent. You never knew, especially offensively, what you're going to get week to week. O-line was always a struggle. And oh, by the way, when the O-line's a struggle, I hate to say it because you never want to see injuries, but it led to a lot of injuries at the quarterback position. Well, this Texas A&M team, they're physical. They run the crap out of the ball. They finished with 236 yards of total offense or of rushing offense, excuse me. And here's the crazy part. Finished with about 6.7 yards per carry. It was around 7.5 for most of the game until Texas A&M really let their foot off the gas. So you have the run game. You have that elite defense with those elite guys up. Nick Skirt, I never say his name right, Aggie fans. crush me in the comment section. It's not Nick Scourton. Whatever. The bottom line is this dude's a beast. Shamar Stewart's a beast, and they just get after it. But where it gets interesting with A&M is I just don't think I realize the impact that a healthy Connor Wigman could have. We know that first game against Notre Dame, he wasn't at 100%, didn't play his best football, but he comes out on Saturday fully healthy. He was phenomenal. 18 of 22 passing, 276 yards, and it goes without saying, you don't need to be Vince Lombardi or, Nick Saban or Bill Belichick to know that if you already have a good pass game or already have a good run game and you add a good pass game to it, generally speaking, pretty good things are going to happen for you. And that's exactly what happened with Texas A&M. They now have what appears to be an elite passing game. Now you got to keep it, continuing over a period of time. But Connor Wigman does add an element that obviously Marcel Reed doesn't. Doesn't mean Marcel Reed's a bad player, a bad kid, a bad quarterback. But the pass game just felt different, and the whole offense felt different because of it. Before we do, I want to welcome a new sponsor to the Aaron Torres pod, Blue Chew. Fellas, remember back in the day when you were always ready to go? Well, things change. You got a lot on your mind. Your football team isn't very good. Well, here's the good news. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. To get started, it's so easy. Just go to bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No awkward trip to the doctors, no waiting at the pharmacy, no stink eyes, no raised eyebrows, nothing. Thing is, though, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, Torres, does it actually work? Do you think I need to try it? Well, here's the deal. Try it for a month for free, and I think there will be no turning back, all right? You'll love it. Your partner is going to love it. Your football team may stink, but you'll be rocking like the 85 Bears between the sheets. So go ahead, try it out, and here is the great news. We have a special offer for listeners of the Aaron Torres pod. You can try Blue Chew for free when you use the code Torres at checkout. All you got to do is pay $5 in shipping. Go to bluechew.com, use promo code Torres at checkout. You get Blue Chew for free for a free month, and you only have to pay $5 shipping. Again, visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. Thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring the Aaron Torres podcast. Now, with that said, you have the run game defense. Now we appear to have a pass game at A&M. Here's the crazy part. Go ahead and look at that schedule. Texas A&M is now 5-1. Tell me why Texas A&M won't be in the conversation for the college football playoff come, potentially come the end of, late October into November, okay? Because one thing about college football, and I've said this since we got to this 12-team playoff era, so I've been saying it since April, May, June of this past year. I just think as we go on and on in this 12-team playoff era, more and more, who makes the playoff? Yes, it's going to be about, do you have a baseline talent level that's good enough? There's no doubt about that. Nobody's arguing that, okay? But at the same time, what I would also say, what does feel obvious to me, is that you are going to have breaks on the schedule as well. And there's certainly no easy schedules in the SEC, but you look at A&M sitting at 5-1 right now. They have about as manageable as a schedule as you possibly could have going forward, okay? Before we even get into who they do play, let's get into some of who they don't, because they are one of only two teams in the SEC that does not play Georgia or Alabama this year. Arkansas is the other. So no Georgia, no Bama. They don't play Tennessee. Okay, how about that? To talk about a good year, and I guess it's next year too, but a good year to miss Tennessee. And then, oh, by the way, you also don't play Ole Miss either. So you're talking about four really good teams, four SEC, playoff contenders, at least if we're not talking about SEC championship contenders. And then you look at the rest of the home road balance, it's about as easy as you get. At home, you do have your two toughest games. Now, nobody avoids everybody, right? You can't avoid all the great teams. But LSU and Texas are your two remaining SEC home games. Obviously, Texas is going to be tough. That's the end of the year. We'll see where A&M is at that point. But even LSU, like LSU's a good team. I'm a Brian Kelly supporter. But remember what happened last time LSU came to play in College Station? They got their butt kicked in year one under Brian Kelly right after they beat Bama a few weeks before. So it's not as though A&M isn't capable of beating LSU. As a matter of fact, I think if they two teams played right now in College Station, A&M should probably be favored. But the bottom line is your two biggest games remain at home. You also get New Mexico State at home. Would hope that's a win. Maybe a team or two in the SEC that have struggled with them in previous years. But bottom line is, look, you get that advantageous home schedule, and then on the road, you got to play tough road games. It's this league, but you have at Mississippi State, at Auburn, at South Carolina. I'm sorry, it's no disrespect to any of those schools. We know how tough it is to play at South Carolina. Kirby Smart himself has talked about how hard it is to play at Auburn. But that is about as advantageous a road schedule as you could possibly have. So when I look at this A&M team, I'm just here to say, I'm not saying they're making the playoff. But what I am saying is, if you could get to November with this only one loss, you are in the playoff conversation, no doubt. And I think even if you take a loss, you're still in the conversation. Now, hopefully it's not a terrible loss, but let's say you lose to LSU at home. Whoever it would be. Is there a scenario where you could be going into that Texas game, the final week of the season, with a win and you might be in scenario? I think it's absolutely in play because, one, you got to factor in your schedule, but also everybody else's, as a lot of teams still have a lot of tough games left on the schedule. So credit A&M. Don't want to put the cart before the horse. I don't want to speak for A&M fans, but I think you're just happy with the dominant performance against Missouri. Credit the Aggies. Deserve to win. And as they go into their bye, there's nothing else to say, but the whole road is in front of them. They got a chance for a very, very special season.